Chapter 7 Season 4 just got officially teased by Fortnite, and with only a few weeks left until its release, I thought now would be as good a time as any to go through and give my thoughts on Chapter 7 Season 3. I do talk about many different aspects of this season in this video, so if there's anything in particular you want to hear me talk about, I'll have links with timestamps in the description. Let's begin by just talking about the launch of Season 3. Chapter 7 was coming off of a rather weak season in Season 2. However, Season 2 did end with an insane live event. I would argue that Shatter was actually one of my favorite Fortnite live events ever, and I've been playing Fortnite since about mid-Chapter 3, so we haven't actually seen a full-fledged end-of-season live event since probably back in that era. So needless to say, I was pretty hyped for Season 3. But some leaks were coming out suggesting that the theme was going to be tropical, but other leaks were coming out saying that there was going to be some sort of like heist mechanic similar to Chapter 6 Season 2. So while I didn't necessarily like the leaks of the theme that were coming out, I was excited for the gameplay aspects that could be in play. Now the tropical leaks seem to be on point. Chapter 7 Season 3 is, well, it's quite tropical, but there was no heist mechanic, or at least it depends on how you look at it. When Chapter 7 Season 3 actually released, it was not what anyone could have expected. Fortnite had brought back a throwaway feature from Chapter 6 in sprites, but they had been completely revamped. Fortnite had actually taken inspiration from Stealer Brainrot and Arc Raiders playbook by implementing a collection system for sprites and an extraction mechanic. At the beginning of the season, there were all sorts of sprites to be found. And at the time, even just a legendary sprite was considered rare. But the one sprite everyone was going crazy for was the 0 point sprite, which at the beginning of the season, only 0.001% of players actually had it. However, with the positives of the season's launch, there were some negatives as well. With one of those negatives being the loot pool. It is atrocious, even now after 2 months in. I think out of like all the weapons in this season, I would really only carry 2 or 3. The triple shot shotgun is terrible. The lever pump is okay in zero build, but build players seem to hate it because of how slowly it fires. The John Wick pistol does insane damage, but the crosshair is such a pain to use with controller. The burst rifle, the Warforce assault rifle, I could go on and on. We're basically to the end of the season now, and there's one standout weapon that if you're not carrying, you're at a disadvantage. And that weapon isn't even a new weapon. It's the pistol from Chapter 5, and in Chapter 7 Season 2, the weapon to be carrying was also a pistol. Fortnite, we want original weapons. I know you like to reuse these old weapons from previous chapters, but new and actually fun weapons will always be what us Fortnite players want. My hope for Season 4 is definitely that we get some fun weapons again. Later on in the season, Fortnite introduced Sprite Variants, and the first kind to ever come out was the Gold Variants. And holy cow, people went crazy for these things. If you found even a gold water sprite, people thought you just won the lottery. And as time went on, Fortnite would add even more variants and more variants and more variants to the point where we have so many variants now I couldn't even name them all. I mean, I could try. I think we have, let me think. We have gold, holofoil, gem, galaxy, cube. I'm stuck now. What comes after cube? Anyway, you get my point. There are way too many sprite variants. And players soon realized that finding these variants was insanely hard. You would either have to grind for hours and hours and hours, only finding like 2 or 3 sprite variants at a time, or you would have to have good servers and good RNG to have a player load into your match with something super rare. So Fortnite saw this and went, okay, we can kind of help players out here. And so they decided to take a feature that had been kind of underused since the beginning of Chapter 7 in power hours and turn them into sprite power hours. Every weekend on Saturdays for about 2 hours, you had increased chances to find super rare sprites, and you would also spawn with a rare weapon or ability. Now, the first one of these they ever actually did were the gummy power hours. I have a ton of fond memories from that power hour of just hopping on with one of my buddies and finding like 7 or 8 rare sprites that I needed. And the ability that they gave players was everyone spawned with the mythic boots, so it was insane mobility and gameplay on top of finding rare sprites. It was so awesome. It was so fun. But then the next week, we went from an all high to complete low. Fortnite had that week Fatigue released the Galaxy sprites, and so they wanted to do a Galaxy Sprite variant Power Hour. However, you couldn't find any of the Galaxy sprites. I think the most I found that Power Hour was 2, maybe 3. It was bad. And the gameplay mechanic, it was so forgettable, I don't even remember what it was. I remember just playing that Power Hour and complaining the entire time how bad it was, to the point where I just got off and didn't care. It basically stayed like this for the remainder of the season. We would have a really good Power Hour, and then a not so good Power Hour, and then an amazing Power Hour, and then a Power Hour so bad that you didn't even want to play the Power Hour next week. It was just back and forth. So I really don't think Fortnite has quite figured out how to do these Power Hours quite yet, or I should say they don't really know what players want yet. I'm not too sure why. But with sprites rumored to be coming back next season, I just hope they kind of figure out how to make Power Hours fun again. Because there were some really, really fun ones this season. And then there were the not so fun ones that made me want to throw my controller at my monitor. Later on in the season, we got our summer updates. The first summer update we got added some new features while Epic went on their summer break. So it wasn't anything memorable. One of the things they added that I was actually using a lot was the ability to double Sprite XP by lighting a campfire if you had a Sprite equipped. But other than that, this summer event was pretty forgettable. Fortnite's second summer event was the DC summer update. I'm not a huge DC fan, but I will say some of the things that got added in this update were very fun. The flying Batmobile especially. Fast forward to now, where the Spider-Man Brand New Day movie just released, and since Fortnite and Disney are partners, we got a Spider-Man Brand New Day collab, which I was actually very excited for because I am a huge Spider-Man fan, and I've always loved the Spider-Man web shooters, and they did make a grand return, as leakers were suggesting. And they're actually still in the game right now, at least until August 20th, I think. I could be wrong on that. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Before I wrap up this video, I do want to touch on one point that I hope Fortnite addresses next season if sprites are indeed coming back, which it's rumored that they are, and that is Sprite Fatigue. I myself, along with thousands of other players, do agree that there are far too many sprites to collect right now, to the point where I can't even name all the Sprite variants and different kinds of sprites and Sprite types. All of them. I can't do it. There's too much. Having like 20, 30, 40 sprites to collect and a few variants here and there, that's fine. That's great. But having over 100 sprites is too much, Fortnite. I don't even have a maxed out collection. I think I'm at like 90 something sprites. So if sprites are indeed coming back next season, my hope is that Fortnite addresses this. Maybe they don't add as many sprites all at once. Maybe they space it out more. Maybe they just don't have sprites as a main feature, and so they don't have to focus on them as much. I don't know. But either way, I think it needs to be addressed, or next season, sprites are going to return, and people are going to get tired of them within the first 3 weeks instead of a month. Okay, enough said. I think it's time to give my opinion on this season as a whole. Looking back, I really enjoyed this season. I typically do not like summer seasons of Fortnite. It's crazy because Fortnite usually you would think wants to capitalize on the incoming kids that are out of school. At least for me, the past like 4 chapters, the summer season just has not hit for me. If not, just made me want to avoid Fortnite entirely. This season, I think for the first time ever, has made me actually want to play Fortnite during the summer. There were so many fun moments. Even though Power Hours didn't always live up to the hype, I always enjoy just hopping on with my buddies and just having a good time collecting rare sprites, even though there are a bit too many to collect. I think Fortnite really did find something special here this season with sprites. I just think they shoved it in our face a little too much, to the point where now at the end of the season, my sprite collection isn't even maxed level. I think I have like 20 sprites at least that aren't maxed. All in all though, if I had to rate this season on a scale of 1 to 10, I think I could give it an easy 7.5. It's probably the best season we've had so far this chapter. It definitely beat season 2, and I'm not counting season 1 because season 1 was a buggy mess. But if Fortnite can keep this hype going and keep the player counts where they are, I really do think the future of Fortnite is not as bleak as we think it is. With all that being said though, I am curious on your guys' opinions, so if you want to, you can leave them down in the comments below. I read almost every single comment. And if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like. And if you want to see more from me, you can always hit that subscribe button. It is completely free. Thank you all so very much for watching. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next one.